What is up, the world? My name is Ashlyn, and I'm your T2 for at least 4 days of the week. Every other day, it's fellow T2 Matt Burnett and supervisor Blaine Wallem. But today I'm going to show you guys how to use Techcare. Yay! Techcare. Okay. So when you first log into Techcare, this is what you see. You won't have as many options as I do, probably, but anyway, so this is the main thing that you see. You'll notice over here, if you look towards my calendar, that I have something scheduled there. How that works is if you are unable to complete something the one day for any reason, or the customer is unavailable and you need to reschedule them, you'll reschedule the ticket, and when you log in next, it'll show up in your calendar to remind you, hey, you have this thing set up that you need to follow up with today or tomorrow or whenever. Actually, it'll be that day. If it's like more than a day or whatnot out, then it won't pop up until that day that you have it scheduled. It's neat like that. Alright, so excuse me. What I'm going to show you is how to use tickets, the ins and outs of a ticket. Now, this is the first thing that you will see when you click on a ticket. You've just gotten this ticket. You just got it from the phone queue. It hasn't been transferred to your name or anything like that. It's just a blank little ticket with the issues all lined out and whatnot for you. And you have to make a session, etc., etc. So the first thing that you do when you get a ticket is you will go to Contacted Transfer, and you're going to type owned. And then where it says select person, you can either choose your name from the list. Some of the guys do that, but me, what I like to do is I like to type the first 3 letters of my name, and it automatically highlights my name for me, to which I will just click push enter on my keyboard, and then OK. And then it transfers it to my name. The significance of this is, when you first take a ticket, if you don't put it in your name, then no one will know that it belongs to you, and they can take it from you and give it to someone else, because there's nothing showing that it's being worked on or even owned. So it's imperative that when you get a ticket, the first thing that you do is you put it in your name to show ownership. Otherwise, it's going to be taken from you, and there's nothing that we can do about that. Don't do that to us. Now, from there, we're going to click on General Contact, and notice that all of those buttons at the top just vanished. General Contact gives you complete manual control of a ticket. If you don't push that, then there are some features of the ticketing system that you won't be able to use. For example, any of these up here. If you don't click on General Contact, you can't use any of these, which can be important if you need to check account information or anything like that. But I'll get into that later. Right now, I'm going to go over the issues here. All this important little info here. So these are the issues of the ticket. This is basically what the customer needs done on their computer. So when you make a session, these are the individual little things that you need to complete. Okay. So while you're looking at these, normally the customer will still be on the phone with you if they are if they are still on the phone, you need to single out any issues that will require customer interaction in order to solve first. Knock that out of the park, first and foremost. After you establish a session and get that going once you're connected, then we'll start working on these things. But right here, anytime you have an email issue, that one always comes first, because it may require interaction with the customer, because you're not sure if you have to reset that password or not. So once you go in and you check their browsers to see if perhaps the password has been saved in their browser history or in their in security, if that password works, great, you can check that off and you don't need them on the phone anymore. But if it doesn't and it's outdated, then you need to go to password recovery tools. Obviously, if that doesn't work, then we will have to reset the email, which you will need the customer on the phone for. Because resetting passwords requires information that we otherwise would not have. So, on a ticket, email always comes first if it is an issue there. If it's not, don't worry about it. But email, always an issue. So that gets knocked out first. Once you've completed the email, then you can go to other things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set email here. So the email address that we need to recover is not in the notes here, nor is the last password that's known. So to get that information, this text in blue here, we click it, and that'll open this little window. It gives us the email address and the last known password. So, one of the first things that you will need to do, obviously, is check to make sure that this is spelled correctly, etc. Confirm that with a customer before you let them off the phone. The reason I say this is because sometimes the TAs will get it wrong, or they will mishear something and they'll put a letter or number there that's actually not supposed to be there. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if they get something wrong, and their notes, if we have the wrong information, obviously we can't fix it accordingly. So we have to be sure, double check all of the information that you were given, just in case. Unless it's a key. Keys are probably right. Alright, so we have all of that information pulled up MSN on my end to test password. And I need to log in, valid password. So obviously, this is an easy scenario, and now that we've confirmed that this is done and that issue is resolved, we can go ahead and put a little check mark here where it says email, and we're going to update our notes. How we update our notes is we go to please select the outcome, go to contact to transfer, and then you select your name and click OK. That adds your notes to the ticket. Once you do that, as you can see, all these little buttons come back. As a quick note, just in case, guys, if you first get a ticket and you see these little buttons here, instead of doing please select the outcome or whatever to transfer it into your name, you can click on this button that says transfer schedule. That brings up the same little screen. You can put it in your name, and then you can push general contact to take control of the ticket again. Just to make it easier. Alright. And then we tackle all of the other things that are on the ticket. Let's say they're a new member, and they need their membership software installed. This is the computer name. When you need the information to their licensing stuff, you click this, and the checklist comes up. Now obviously this is a test member, so it's not going to have any membership stuff. So let me show you what that actually looks like for a real member. Alright, we click on the computer name, and we come to the checklist. Here's all of the information that you need. It includes the backup stuff. Here's the password, the email, and the key. And here's your trend key. Now, how I normally did things when I was a T1 is I only pulled up the checklist to get all of the Mosey information. Now, once I had entered all of the Mosey info and Mosey was installed, I would close that and go to where it says account over here. And when you click on account, it shows you all of the customer's info, where they live, both phone numbers, their email address, all that fun stuff, including the time zone. Now we go to licenses, and I can pull her latest trend key right from where it says licenses. So after Mosey information is done, you can close the checklist and pull the trend key from licenses right here. Because after the Mosey information has been filled out, you don't need that tab anymore. Alright. So, onto account stuff, since this is where we are right now. When you look at licenses, you can see all of the customers' active licenses, previous trend keys, Identity Force Gold, which, by the way, for any of you new guys that don't know anything about it, Identity Force Gold is identity protection that we offer, but we do not install anything or do anything with it. So whenever you see it, don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything. It's just there, included in their membership. And just in case, if you're not sure if the customer has another device on their computer, you can go to devices, and it'll show you each and every device that the customer has on their membership, including the subscription type that they have. Margot here is a platinum, as you can see by the little platinum button over here. Platinum is the highest membership type that Basque has, and it's basically the customer pays one time for an annual fee. They're covered for the rest of that year. That's how that works. Gold, silver, bronze, and the rest have to pay each and every time a new ticket is made for them. Platinums don't, because they're already paid in full. Okay. Another real little tidbit about this little screen right here. When you get an already existing member, you pull this up right here. If you don't have a session and they do have an active TS client on their machine, this little button will be active like these two are. which case all you need to do is click on Client Connect, and it'll pop right up for you and make that super, super easy. This customer doesn't. So I need to make sure to tell the tech that's going to work on it, that they need to do that when I actually get it out. Alright. You can also look at their descriptions and their history. Their history will show you all of the tickets that have been recently done for this customer. Say for instance, this customer has called in before with the same issue over and over again, and it's been solved, but a couple days later it keeps happening. You can go into the account history for this customer to check previous tickets that were done, to look at the previous text notes to see what they did and how they did it, to know how they solved the issue. You can try that fix that you know will only work for a limited time, but you can also take that information into account to decide what a better course of action would be. That could maybe be a more permanent solution. And then after that, of course, we have info. And that's all the information that we really need there. Alright, so the rest of these you can check off as you go. Each and every time that you complete something, you can check it off there and then update your notes. I would advise you all to update your notes at least once every 60 minutes. Even better is if you update it multiple times within an hour. As a T1, I generally updated my notes at least every 20 to 30 minutes. And my notes are detailed. Let me go ahead and show you how I do my notes here. Basically, my notes are very brief, but they're very detailed. They tell you what exactly I did, what I fixed, how much I fixed, and what I uninstalled and what I ran. That is basically all we need to know with a basic ticket like this. If your notes do not tell me what you did and how you did them, you're doing your notes wrong. They need to be detailed. I have to know exactly what you've done. Notes or didn't happen. Notes are important because they can cover your butt later on down the line. For instance, if you complete a ticket and the customer calls back in with a complaint, a higher up will look at your notes, and if they're not adequate to say what you did and how you did it, then they can very, very easily rework the ticket, which means that you don't get credit for it, which means that you don't get paid. So it's very important that you pay very close attention to your notes and be as detail-oriented as possible. Alright, so now that all of that is done, we can resolve the ticket, and by resolve I mean close. We'll select a problem category. Anytime that you have email as an issue, that is always the main problem. My final notes are lazy, and that's okay. They're very straight and to the point. It doesn't involve a lot of tech jargon. But your final notes, anything that goes in this box here, the customer will be able to see and read it on the survey that you give them. So try and make sure that it's very free of any tech jargon that you've used in your notes, because 9 times out of 10 the customer doesn't know what they mean. And if they're the type that wants to sit and read your notes, they will have questions if you don't make it jargon free. So make your life easier by not including any. Alright, and then we'll click OK. And this is when you see the survey and all of that. You'll click yes, because this is when you reach this screen. This is the point where you call the customer and say, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm calling to let you know that I'm all done working on your computer. I have a short little survey for you, if you would take a look at it for me. Copy this link and paste it in their browser for them to look at. This is how it's going to look on their screen. Okay, you will have them click yes, and then they'll fill this out. Make sure to watch them, or if not, then you need to explain this question. They can fill the rest of these out however high or low they want. If this bottom one right here is not ranked highly, then it affects you negatively. This last question is the only one that matters. So you need to make sure that they rank it positively. The best way to do that is to phrase it to the customer like this. So I know that this last question is orientated towards the business, but think of it less as referring to the business and more referring to me. Rank this question like you would rank me. Would you recommend me to your family and friends to work with to fix their computer problems? Generally, they will rank that very high after you explain it that way, which is what you want. because a high score will make your NPS rate be high. That's what you want, is a very high NPS score. A high NPS score means you get the most out of your paycheck. Low NPS scores will impact your paycheck negatively. It'll take money from you. So always be sure that the customer fills this out positively. If they are irate or anything like that, don't give them a survey. You need to be very selective in who you give your surveys to. If they're mad at you, don't give them a survey. If they're irate at the company but not at you, you might want to consider giving them one, but make sure that you phrase that last question like it pertains to you, not the company. Because if you don't, they will give you a very bad score, and that reflects badly on you. So just make sure that doesn't happen. When after that last screen, instead of cancel, obviously you click OK, and that closes the ticket as resolved. But for this one, I'm going to close it as invalid because it's a test. And we're going to do it this way. You guys will never close a ticket like this. You will only close it as resolved. If it needs to be closed any other way, you need to contact your T2 that's online at the moment so they can close it for you. Because if you close it, it impacts you negatively. If we close it, it has no impact on you. And obviously, we want what's best for you. So help yourself by giving us stuff like this to close for you. Otherwise, we can't help you. The only other thing that I have to cover is this right here. This is a TKT. Now we accept two types of tickets, transfer and TKTs. TKTs like this one are from people or members who are current, who have been with us for a long time, or have been with us for a few days, or whatever. Transfers are new customers, either with a membership or just a basic care. Basic care are one-time customers, basically. Sometimes they'll call in later on down the line, but they don't want the membership, so they're a basic care. It's pretty much the only thing that means. So ticket, existing member, transfer, new member. That's all you need to know. Alright, and that concludes that for the tickets part of things. Now, otherwise in Techcare here, you have your quick search. For instance, if a customer calls you, but it's a ghost call or it ends prematurely, usually in 5.9 it'll give you the customer's name or whatnot, and you can type in the customer's name. Let's say their first name is John. You type in John and it looks up all of the members in our database. All the Johns that we have. Their name is right here, down this line. If the one that you're looking for has any active tickets, then you can click it over here. If not, but this is only when you need to look a customer up. If not, that's fine. To keep track of all the tickets that you have currently, you will go from Workspace to Tech Teams. And in this space here, Control F, you'll type in your name and click Search, and it'll show you all of your active tickets, just in case you may have forgotten one. Alternatively, this is what I use to keep track of everything that you guys are doing. So whatever you are working on, I will see it. And if you're not working on anything, I'm going to give you work. All that good stuff. However, if you're not getting anything, then you can look for unassigned tickets. Unassigned tickets will always show in this really light lavender. You can look at them, and if you're interested in taking it, you copy and paste the URL, and you pull up your Spark or Pigeon chat list, and what you'll do is you'll contact a service delivery manager. Right now the most active one here is Steve. And you'll open that up and you will ask Steve if you can take that ticket. If he says no, don't touch it. Just leave it be. But usually your tickets will come in from the 5.9 queue or the LMI queue. And that is basically it. Alright guys, that concludes our little training video on Techcare. Later.